Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has gathered us again today to learn the rules of Tajweed. And Alhamdulillah, we have reached so far as to reach the topics of Al-Mad. We started the topic of Mad last week, last Friday, and we did Mad al-Tabee'i and we did Mad al-Badal, but inshallah we will review a little bit and basically do the whole topic of Mad today. We'll try to finish it. And before we get into the rules of Tajweed for Mads, we will recite as usual the page from Quran, one page we will recite at the beginning, then we will do the rules. We will look at the application of these rules in the actual page of the Mus'haf. We will identify those mudud, and then towards the end of the lecture, we will read one more page, inshallah. So let us go to the Mus'haf now, and we will read the page that is scheduled for today. So today we will be reciting page number 17. I will make, first of all, I'm going to get my pen so that I have it handy over here. And I'm going to make the page big like this. All right, here we go. So let us start. You can read along with me. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. ما ننسخ من آية أو ننسها نأت بخير منها أو مثلها ألم تعلم أن الله على كل شيء قدير ألم تعلم أن الله له ملك السماوات والأرض وما لكم من دون الله من ولي ولا نصير أم تريدون أن تسألوا رسولكم كما سئل موسى من قبل ومن يتبدل الكفر بالإيمان فقد ضل سواء السبيل ود كثير من أهل الكتاب لو يردونكم من بعد إيمانكم كفارا حسدا لو يردونكم من بعد إيمانكم كفارا حسدا من عند أنفسهم من بعد ما تبين لهم الحق فاعفوا واصفحوا حتى يأتي الله بأمره إن الله على كل شيء قدير وأقيموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة وما تقدموا لأنفسكم من خير تجدوه عند الله إن الله بما تعملون بصير وقالوا لن يدخل الجنة إلا من كان هودا أو نصارى تلك أمانيهم قل هاتوا برهانكم إن كنتم صادقين بلى من أسلم وجهه لله وهو محسن فله أجره عند ربه فله أجره عند ربه ولا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون صدق الله العظيم. All right, so inshallah, let us get on with these notes. We we started with the mud topic right here. So again, just a little bit of review. Al-mad means long, and in the context of the recitation of the Holy Quran is to stretch. The minimum mad is 2 harakat, and the maximum in Hafs qira'ah is 6 harakat. The famous word that is used, let me just look for a little bit of space. I guess I can use right here. The famous word that is used is this to um, indicate or to illustrate the natural muds. Okay, nuhiha. Nun waw, the dhamma, nu. Waw is sakin here, but because in this notation, that's Mushaf Madinatul Sharif, whenever waw is used as a mud letter, then the sukoon, although it is sakin, but the sukoon is not used. Same thing with the ya here, that although the ya is sakin, but the sukoon is not used. Sukoon is used if ya is ya layyina, meaning preceded by a letter with a fatha, or waw is preceded by a letter with a fatha, then they use the sukoon sign, the jazm or the sukoon sign. Otherwise they don't. So here ha with a kasra, he, nu, 2 harakat. This word is from Quran. Nuhiha. Ha has a fatha. Ha, yes, ha, ya kasra. Again, 2 harakat. Mad, and ha alif fatha. Here is 2 harakat mad. So these are the three basic mads, or you call them maddut tabi'i, or maddul asli, or natural mad. Okay, so just to take a quick exit from this page, and we will go to the mushaf. Okay, and let's just um, quickly identify the natural mads. Okay, so alif extends fatha. Here's your alif, okay, which is preceded by a letter with a fatha. So therefore, this alif is going to extend this fatha from one haraka to two harakat. If this alif wasn't there, then there will be no mad, no stretching. Alif stretches fatha. Waw sakin stretches dhamma. And ya sakin stretches kasra. Okay, let's move on. Find another instance. Okay, here you go. Now you have alif stretching a letter with the fatha. In this case happens to be hamza. So we will recite it two harakat. Although there's a special name for this formation of natural mud. This is a natural mud in its essence. Okay, in like the foundation, it is a natural mud. Okay, a letter with a fatha followed by alif, natural mud. But because of hamza being that letter that precedes alif, or any mud letter for that matter, this mud type of mud is called maddul badal. Maddul badal. Okay. But anyways, this is still a natural mud. Moving on. Again, you have the alif here and a letter with a fatha. So therefore you have a natural mud for two harakat. So natural mud always two harakat long. Okay, how about here? Is this a natural mud? No, absolutely not, because this is not an alif. This is actually a hamza. So we will take this away. See, this is a hamza. So you have actually an alif with a hamza on top. So this is becomes hamza, and there is a sukun sign on top as well here. So how are we going to read this? Nati. So it won't be a natural mud here. So take this out, 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 out. There we go. Okay, getting back here. All right, now we can see a ya sakin. So remember the situation I was saying that if they use, this is a ya sakin, but they would use this character here, the sukun sign, in the case when ya sakin or waw sakin are preceded by a letter with a fatha. So this becomes ya layina in this case, or this situation is a lean situation. Which kha has a fatha, letter with a fatha preceding ya sakin or waw sakin. So this situation here becomes a lean situation. So this is not a mad. How are we going to recite this? Khoi, khoi. Okay. So again, bring out my eraser. Just wanted to highlight this, but we move on. That is not a natural mud. Okay. Again, you have your alif preceded by a letter with a fatha. You have again a natural mud of two harakat. أو مثلها, again same situation, two harakat, natural mud. ألم تعلم أن الله, here the natural mud is actually hidden. They do not write in this particular notation the alif maqsura, they do not write here, but there is an alif maqsura here. That's why I say Allah, Allah, or Annallaha. So there is an alif maqsura here. They do not write. In this case, there is also a two harakat natural mad right here. Lam, alif, lam fatha, and this alif maqsura. Allah, Annallaha. But the convention or the notation here on this Musaf Madina to Sharif, they do not write it. They just write a fatha. Here you go. You get another one. So you have lam. Here, let me draw it. Lam. This is lam. Okay, followed by a letter ya. But then there is an alif maqsura right here following the lam with the fatha. So lam has a fatha followed by alif maqsura. This is same as lam like this. This is same. But alif maqsura is actually used if they need to use the alif in the middle of the word, because what you have here is, oops, sorry. Uh, so you have lam with a fatha. Then you have, let's say, I'm just going to extend this a little bit. Okay, perhaps this way. Just extend it like this. And then there is a ya. I'm just writing it in a stretched form. Okay, this is and this alif maqsura is sometimes written with a ya and this alif, this vertical dash on top. And then you have the ain with a fatha connected here. So this becomes this this basically acts as an alif maqsura all together here. Here. So in this case, if I take a thin pen here and if I go like this here, this would be alif maqsura. And then you have a lam with a fatha. So this lam alif with a and the lam with a fatha followed by an alif. So you get your natural mad here of two harakat. Ain with the fatha one, lam alif with the fatha, lam with the fatha and followed by alif, which is alif maqsura in this case, two harakat. So how will we recite this? Ala, ala. Okay, moving on. Kulli shay'in qadir. Okay, now we meet a natural mud with a ya sakin. So here is your ya sakin. Okay, and so ya sakin stretches kasra, or letter with the kasra. Kasra is your vowel or the haraka here. We stretch it. Qadir, two harakat, natural mud. Okay. Again, as I mentioned before, whenever ya sakin is used for the mad purposes, they do not write the sukun sign, although it is a sakin letter. They do not write. They will write the sukun when ya is used in a leen situation, which is here. So you have ya sakin has a sukun on top. This is also ya sakin. This is ya sakin. And this is also ya sakin. But in mud situation, they do not write the sukun character on top. In the leen situation, they write the sukun on top to differentiate between the two different scenarios. Okay, perfect. So now we have identified. Let's do a little bit more. Alam ta'alam anna Allah. Again, there would be a hidden um, mud in here. Lam alif fatha la Allah ha lahu. Here's your another mud here. Now be careful here because you may tend to sort of ignore it, because here wow is like a subscript. It's like a subscript, so it's a little wow here. However, however, this wow belongs to that subscripted wow belongs to this word here. That's the word. So where is the mud? Ha with a dhamma on top, followed by a wow sakin. So this becomes a natural mud of two harakat. Lahu mulku samawati. Again, you have meme with a fatha followed by an alif maksura. And because this alif is coming in the middle of the word, so they are just going to use this alif maksura, this type of alif maksura. And here is your two harakat, natural mud. Then the next one here, wow has a fatha followed by again an alif maksura. So here we go. That will be the second, then the mud, or the, let's say, subsequent mud. Let me just make a little circle around it so that you can distinguish the two mudud that are occurring side by side. And this is the other one here. This one also is going to be two harakat here. Samawati, samawati, wal ard. Okay, all right, we can keep on going. But you have seen the different places where this natural mud is occurring, and it occurs in different ways. If it is in the middle of the word, the end of the word, and so on. All right, let's go back to the notes again. So I'm going to take this out. Here we go. Go back to the notes. Okay. Basically, here they're just explaining a little bit more. So, huruful mad, what are they? Alif preceded by a fatha. Okay, that's what they're saying here. Okay. Then waw sakina preceded by a dhamma. Um, Also, and here they actually mention alif sakin. However, alif by definition is always sakin. So this would be a little um, like an extra word. Alif is by definition always sakin. But many people actually confuse alif with the hamza because it is in different mushafs. Like for example, a mushaf from the Indian, Pakistani, Bangladeshi, that origin, Persian, that origin. So they would just use alif and they would use, let's say, fatha and say this is a, and then use kasra, they say e, and use a dhamma saying this is u. However, in the Musaf Madina to Sharif, the that type of notation or the type of script that they use, in that they actually differentiate an alif with the actual hamza. So the moment you actually, this would be an alif which is just on its own with nothing on top or bottom, and this by definition would be always sakin. So you don't need to say alif sakin, it's already there. Okay, and hamza would occur in many different forms. This is hamzatul qat or actual free floating hamza. Okay, you can have hamza on top of this alif, but this together forms a hamza. You would have a hamza at the bottom. You would have a hamza on top of a wow. You would have a hamza on top of a ya. You could have a hamza, let's say in the middle of the word. Let's say whatever, a hamza right here like this. Hamza can appear in many different ways, but alif would be just like this, sakin. And then you can add on a letter before with a fatha. It would make a natural mud and stretch. So that alif will stretch the letter with the fatha and stretch it to two harakat. For example, um, here you go, jim alif and then jim with a fatha and followed by alif. Hijara, two harakat. And then waw extends, as I explained before, a letter with a dhamma. So if a letter with a dhamma precedes waw sakin, it's going to extend to harakat ju'. And ya extends a letter with a kasra. In this case, dal with a kasra. So di, dinukum, dinukum. Okay. And the other situation now is the lean, as I explained before. Then how do they differentiate with these um, the waw and the ya in situation of mud and situation of lean? Lean happens whenever ya sakin is preceded by a letter with a fatha. So the letters preceding ya sakin or waw sakin need to have or bear a fatha. Fatha, no other haraka, but fatha only. So in this case, Ra has a fatha followed by Ya sakin. In this case, Kha has a fatha and followed by Waw sakin. Notice that Waw um, in the mud situation, they do not use the Sukoon sign. Same thing with the Ya sakin. The Sukoon sign is not used, although the Waw is sakin and Ya is sakin. In this case also, in the case of Leen, Ya is sakin, Waw is sakin, but they indicate the Leen situation by putting a Sukoon sign on top of Ya in this case and Waw in this case here. That's what it's the difference between um, huruf maddiya, alif, Waw and Ya, and huruf which are Leen letters, Ya and Waw. Perfect. Let's move on to the next sheet. Okay, so now here is a list of the mudud that we will be covering. We already discussed quite a bit about maddut tabi'i. Again, remember the word nuhiha, nu, dhamma, ha, ya, and then ha, alif. Nuhiha. So here you have the three base mads. The first one, with the wow, second one with the ya or ya sakin, which is wow sakin, ya sakin, and third one with the alif. There you go. The three types of maddut tabi'i, natural mad, maddul asli, all of them is the same thing. All right. So if I can make a little check mark here for now. So we have more or less done this one. Then maddul badal, we did last lecture as well. And inshallah, I mentioned a little bit before as well. So anytime a is Hamza precedes a mud letter. So Hamza could precede an alif like this. This is, I'm sorry, the way I wrote it is a little confusing. Hamza and alif would be actually separate, or if it is within the word, then it will have alif maksura. All right, or Hamza with a dhamma followed by a waw, or Hamza with a kasra followed by a ya. So in both cases, these are sakin, waw sakin and ya sakin. But because it is Hamza, the preceding letter is Hamza. So the name that is given to this mud is Maddul Badal. So if we look at the definition down below, Maddul Tabi'i we did already. Let's move on. Maddul Badal. So simply, Maddul Badal can simply be defined as every Hamza preceding a mud letter, as I indicated before. Maddul Badal, if not followed by a second letter or Hamza, is prolonged only 2 beats. So here we go. Let's look at these examples. Um, take this away, move up. Okay. So in the first word here, where is the Maddul Badal? Well, what's the definition? Hamza preceding a mud letter. So where is the Hamza preceding a mud letter? Here. Here's your Hamza right here. Okay. Okay, here we found the Hamza, and what is the letter that comes after, that follows? It's an alif, so which is a mud letter. So therefore this Hamza precedes a mud letter, so therefore This situation here is going to be Maddul Badal. We will do it, extend it, two harakat, like as it says here, two harakat. B, uh, and this is another natural mud here. Okay, alif maqsura preceded by a letter with a fatha, two harakat. Bi ayatina, again you have a natural mud here. But these ones are known as, we will call them just natural mud. But this one, the first one, we will call it maddul badal. We give it a specific name, although this is also natural mud. Why? Because a letter with a fatha followed by an alif. It's a natural mud. But because this natural mud specifically has hamza as a letter with a fatha, so we further qualify it by saying maddul badal. Maddul badal. Okay, next word here. Let's find the hamza with mutaharrik, hamza with a fatha. Again, this hamza with a fatha precedes a mud letter which is an alif. So yes, this is your natural mud, but because the letter preceding alif is a hamza, so that natural mud is a special type of natural mud, and we will name it maddul badal. All right. In the third situation, we have um, hamza, and the fatha here of the hamza is slightly moved over, but here it is. Let me just put an arrow pointed to it, uh, and then you have a alif right here. So this alif will be extending the hamza that has a fatha on top of it. That is appearing in between the lam and the alif. Okay, so this hamza is mutaharrik, has a fatha, and because it is a hamza preceding a mud letter, in this case alif, so we give it this particular natural mud a special name called maddul badal, and we will stretch it two harakat. Al-ayah, al-ayah. There we go. So maddul badal is done. Let's move on to the next topic. Maddul iwad. We can actually, let's find a few maddul badals first. Okay, let me go back to the mushaf, and I will have to go back a few pages where I can find a few. Tabee'i. Okay, we're there. Okay, now we have a few maddul badals here. Let's identify them. Here's one. So here we go. You have hamza with a dhamma followed by a waw sakin right here. So you have a natural mad, dhamma followed by waw sakin, but because this is a hamza, so we are going to call it maddul badal. Anbi'uni. Okay. Um, there are some more here. Just want to. Okay. Let me just go through it. وإذ قال ربك للملائكة إني جاعل في الأرض خليفة وتجعل فيها من يفسد فيها ويسفك الدماء ونحن نسبح بحمدك ونقدس لك قال إني أعلم ما لا تعلمون وعلم آدم here we go, there we go. So you have the Hamza with a fatha followed by a alif. Yes, it is a natural mad, but special type because it is with the Hamza. So we will call this Maddul Badal. Adama, two harakat. Adama آدم الأسماء كلها ثم عرضهم على الملائكة فقال أنبئوني. This is the one that we identified before. أنبئوني بأسماء هؤلاء إن كنتم صادقين. Okay, you have another one here. Okay, in this case it is happening right in the middle of the word here. Hamza with a fatha followed by alif. Ya Adamu. Two harakat. Adamu. Hamza fatha followed by alif. Okay, there we go. We identified a few of these Maddul Badals. Let's go back to the notes and let's move on to Maddul Iwad. What does Iwad means? It means compensation. Mad Iwad is the replacement of a tanween fatha or fathatain present at the end of a word while stopping at it with an alif mad. Okay. Mad Iwad is prolonged 2 beats. Let's look at these examples. Okay. The first one, we had also mentioned that whenever you have, let's say, tanween followed by a ba, then the top one is actually replaced with a little meme. So uh, this one with as it is written turaba but has a little meme, as actually it is fathatain. But because the next word that would come, it's a ba, that's why they write it like this. But again, effectively it is a fathatain. So we will read it as a fathatain. Now if we like, let's say in the end of Surah An-Naba, ya laytani kuntu turaba. Okay, so that will be turaba. But then where is the ba? Because the surah finishes, ba would be the ba of the Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim of the next surah, let's say Surah An-Nazi'at. Turaban Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. So if you chose to read without stopping here, then yes, you would be doing iqlab, which we actually explained in one of the previous lectures. So, and that iqlab situation is represented with that little meme on top of the fatha as far as tanween fathatain is concerned. Okay, let me take this out and this out. So here, what is happening in each one of these situations, there is a stop being made. Um, a stop is being made here. Stop is being made here. A stop is being made here. Stop is being made here. So whenever a stop is made with the tanween fathatain, what happens is that the last formation is read as a mad. So this would actually become ba and this alif and a fatha ba. When we stop, if you don't stop, then the tanween is going to remain intact, and it will, in this case, it will act like an iqlab situation because a ba comes afterwards. Turaban bismillah, like that. But if you actually stop, then this is going to become a mad. And this mad, changing of tanween fathatain to a mad like this here, uh, okay, is known as maddul iwad here. Mad Al-Iwad. All right. Next one. We stop here when we stop here. So normally this word will be ma and, but when we stop, this becomes ma. This becomes. This is how we're going to read. Another rule is that whenever a hamza is preceded with a, like normally whenever you have a fathatain, you will see an alif. You will see an alif. You will see an alif. Okay. Here also you have ba with a fathatain with the alif. But if the hamza is there and is preceded by an alif, then by by convention they do not write an alif right after. But we will read that this rule is still going to apply of madul iwad. So this tanween fathatain, when we stop on this, in this case, it will change into a mad and we will read it ma ma. This of course we will be stretching 5 harakat, but we haven't done this, so we will be doing afterwards. Okay, the third box here, you have ha with a fathatain. So normally, if we were just going to read this word on its own, it will be sabahan, sabahan. But if we stop, we will read it sabaha, sabaha. The next word, if we just read it on its own, it will be amran, amran. But when we stop on it, so if let's say we were continuing, it will be amran, or depending on whatever the letter was afterwards. If it was an ikhfa letter, then we will make ikhfa. If it was a idhar letter, then we will make idhar, or iqlab in like in the first case. But let's say we are stopping here, so if we are stopping, then it will, this will change into a mad, maddul iwad. So we will read this amra, amra, amra. The last one, from saffan to saffa, saffa, saffa. All right, let's go and identify some of these maddul iwads on the mushaf. All right, the page that we read today was, I think it was 17. Yes. Okay. So let us identify Maddul Iwad situations. All right, let's see now. We got to find a tanween. But what type of tanween? Okay, tanween fathatain. Tanween fathatain. Fathatain. Okay, is this fathatain? No, it's dhammatain. Okay, continue, continue. Malakum. Uh, what is this? Kasratain, not fathatain. Move on. Tasalu rasulakum. Okay. Oh, we gotta scroll now. Okay. Ah, we found one. Okay, here we go. Oh, we found two in one after the other. Subhanallah. So now let's say if we were reciting this, actually, I think I may have even stopped here. So let's recite from here and stop here. We're going to stop here because we will assume that we have lost our breath and we need to stop. So let's go. لو يردونكم من بعد إيمانكم كفارا كفارا. So you have ra with a fathatain. And as I said, that normally it is any letter with a fathatain is written with this alif right after to facilitate that madul iwad. Normally it won't be used, but it will be used when we stop, and then this fathatain will actually change into just a fatha and becomes kuffara, like this. But if we were not gonna stop, then what would happen? This will be kuffaran hasada. Kuffaran hasada. So what happened? What is the rule being applied here? All those who are experts in rules of noon, sakin, and tanween, they will right away say this is idhar. Why is this idhar? Why? Because a letter which is throat letter follows this situation of tanween in this case. But noon sakin or tanween followed by a throat letter will cause idhar situation. Kuffaron. Now let's stop here. So yeah, we made it through this word, but then we lost our breath. Oops, sorry. We lost our breath here. Imanikum kuffaron hasada. Same thing's gonna apply. This although as you may probably you're noticing that look at this tanween here. This looks like a tilted equal sign. This one looks like the bottom one is sliding away. Why? Because this is just an indication that there's going to be a nasal sound. There's going to be a nasal sound here. That's why this is how they indicate the scenario of tanween in a nasal sound situation. So you have meme. What type of um, rule? This would be idgham. And what type of idgham? Idgham bi. In this case, you have that like tilted equal sign. Both of these dashes are equal, slightly tilted. This is your idhar situation. Kuffaran. Kuffa. So we do the noon clearly. Kuffaran hasadam min. Okay. Again, we're still dealing with the tanween fathatain. Let's find at least one more situation. Move on. Um, okay, here you go. You found another one here. So let's say we wanted to stop here. How are we going to do this? Let me recite from here. إلا من كان هودا. Huda. Now you have that equal sign, both dashes equal, okay, slightly tilted. So this basically tells you that there's going to be idhar situation. Okay, so if you look at the letter right after, here it is indeed a throat letter. So if we were to continue and not stop here, it will be hudan aw, hudan aw. But if we choose to stop here, it will be huda. Why? Because there is a tanween fathatain. If you stop on tanween fathatain, okay, then it changes into a mad called mad al iwad. There we go. Okay, I think that's enough. Let's move back to the notes. So we've done this now. مد العوض. مد مد عارض للسكون. مد عارض للسكون. What is that? Let us read. مد عارض للسكون means temporary. عارض, temporary. Temporary mud for stopping. If a mud طبيعي, natural mud, مد الأصلي, is followed by a letter at the end of a word which has been made sakin temporarily because the reader has to stop or has chosen to stop at that word. The reader should prolong mad tabi'i to be mad aarid lis-sukoon. Mad aarid lis-sukoon can be prolonged 2, 4, or 6 beats. We always recommend the middle path, middle value 4. Okay. For the sake of simplicity, we will prolong it 4 beats, and this is actually most people choose to do that. 2 sounds a little uh, it's something which is out of the norm. 6 goes a little bit too long. So 4 generally feels and like most people feel comfortable doing 4 beats. Will be like slightly less than the madul muttasil or madul munfasil. We will inshallah do those mads after, but those are 5 beats. So not completely 5 beats, but we will do slightly less, and we will do apply it to mad aarid lis-sukun. Okay. There is a note here saying this mud only exists if the reader stops on that word. If the reader does not stop on it, it should be considered as maddu tabi'i. Okay, let's move on. Let's look at these examples. The first word, si. Okay, so now what are we looking at? We will do 2 scenarios. We will do a scenario where we are continuing, and we will do a scenario where we are going to stop. The first one, how will we decide this? If we were continuing, sijilin and whatever comes afterward. Sijilin. So like in Suratul Fil, ترميهم بحجارة من سجيل فجعلهم كعصف مأكول. So سجيل فجعلهم if you keep on going. But if we choose to stop, which is actually a stop and the end of the ayah, ترميهم بحجارة من سجيل. Now, what happened when we stopped? This letter became sakin. So these two haraka, this kasratain, they go away. Lam becomes sakin. Now, whenever there is a letter that becomes sakin due to stopping, and if that letter that has become sakin due to stopping is preceded by a natural mad, which is right here, jim kasra followed by ya sakin, 2 harakat. Here is your natural mad. Your natural mad precedes a letter that becomes sakin due to stopping, then this natural mad we can do 2, 4, or 6, but as we said, what's recommended? 4. Let's put 4 here. 2 goes to 4. So how will we read this? Min, there's a min sijil here. Min sijil. 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 Okay. Next one. If we were to read this letter, this word in a continuing way, it will be akhihi, akhihi, and then continue with the word that comes afterwards. But if we were to stop here, it will be akhi, akhi. So here is your natural mad, 2 harakat. But this, because we are stopping, this ha here becomes sakin. This kasra will go away, and this 2 is going to go to 4 harakat. Mad aarid lis-sukun. أخي. Okay, then the next word, العظيم. In case we are continuing, العظيم, and whatever word comes afterwards. But if we were to stop here, meme will go sakin. Meme will go sakin. This kasra is going to go away. Here's your natural mud. So if a natural mud precedes a letter that goes sakin due to stopping, then that natural mud will be stretched. Okay. In this case, we recommend 4 harakat, and this stretching, this mud is called mud Aarid Lis-Sukoon. That this mud has been caused because of stopping on this letter. But if we were not going to stop, then this stretching wouldn't wouldn't be done. Okay, next one. Ar-Rahmanu. Okay, and if we were continuing, we will read this dhamma and keep on going. But if we choose to stop here, then this letter here, noon, which is mutaharrik with a dhamma, will go sakin like this. And then we see there is a mad right before mim fatha followed by an alif maqsura. So here is your natural mad, 2 harakat. And because this natural mad is preceding noon, a letter that has become sakin due to stopping. Okay, then we will stretch this 2 to 4. So if we were going to stop, Ar-Rahman. So we've done mad Aarid Lis-Sukoon here. Okay, next one here. If we were going to recite and continue, it will be Yatasaaluna and continuing whatever comes afterwards. But if we decide to stop here, it will be then noon is going to become sakin because we are stopping here. Last letter becomes sakin. And if that happens, we see, is there a mud, natural mud right before? Yes, indeed, there is one. Lam, Dhamma, followed by Waw Sakin, 2 harakat natural mud, but it will not remain 2 harakat anymore because this happens to precede the letter that has gone Sakin due to stopping. So we will stretch this to 4. How will we read this? يتساءلون. Now you notice that here I made a 5 harakat mad because we will inshallah we will do this soon, but I made sure that this one I made less because it's only 4. So 5 and then 4. Okay, this one is um, you have a natural mad right here. Okay, followed by a hamza, so therefore this becomes a mad. In this case, wajib muttasil. We will cover this afterward, inshallah. But the point here I'm trying to bring out is that I'm doing this 4 as opposed to 5 here. So let's do this again. يتساءلون. So just 1 haraka less here. All right, here we go. So we've done all of these examples. Before we go on to mad al-leen, let us look at some of these examples in the mushaf. So I'm going to take this away for now and go to the mushaf. All right, let us look at these. Find mad al-arid lis-sukun or potential mad al-arid lis-sukun situations. Okay, so what are we looking for? We are looking for a natural mad preceding a letter that goes sakin due to stopping. So Okay, let's look at this one here. Okay, just for an argument's sake here. Okay, now this word here, أو مثلها. Okay, is there a letter going sakin due to stopping? No, because the last letter is sakin by itself. There is an alif here. So that situation cannot apply here. You cannot say, oh, mitliha. Absolutely not. Although there is this mud sign, and this mud sign is because of this hamza here. But if you do stop here, then even that mud sign does not come into play. Okay, so therefore we move. I don't want to confuse the situation. Let's move on. um, and we are trying to find a situation where when we stop the letter goes sakin. So let's go. Okay, so if we stop here, what happens to ra? So normally if I was to, let's say, continue like this, how would I read this? um and أن الله على كل شيء قدير ألم تعلم. So I'm just continuing, but let's stop here and see what happens. If we stop here and we choose not to continue, then what's going to happen? This letter Ra will go Sakin. So this will become Sakin. And this letter that has gone Sakin due to stopping is preceded by a natural mad. Dal, the kasra followed by ya sakin. Two harakat. So what are we going to do now? We are going to change this natural mad's value from 2 to 4. شيء قدير. شيء قدير. If you remember the rules of Ra becomes sakin if it is preceded by a second letter, and then you have to go one more back and you look at that letter has a kasra, so therefore this Ra sakin will be read muraqqaq or flat. Qadir. But this natural mad we will change from 2 harakat to 4, and we will call this mad al-aarid lis-sukoon. Mad aarid lis-sukoon. Okay, let's move on more and find another situation. Alam ta'lam Allah. Okay, suppose you stopped here. Remember we said that there is like an hidden alif in here. Okay, this notation they don't write that, but in other notations, if you sort of are familiar with the other notation, they write here like this, Allah. So they actually write here this alif maqsura here is actually a combination of a fatha and alif maqsura. In this case, they just write the fatha, but there is an alif here. So, that means there is a natural mad of 2 harakat right here. Okay. Now, suppose you wanted to stop here. You stop here, you lose your breath. So, what's going to happen to the last letter, which is mutaharrik, has a fatha? Last letter will become sakin, like this. And then we will say ألم تعلم أن الله. There you go. This 2 is going to go to 4. Normally, if we were not going to stop here, we would say only 2 harakat. أن الله له. So you do the 2 harakat mad. But if you decide to stop here, ha becomes sakin. Okay, and the mad, natural mad that is preceding is right here. So we will change that from 2 to 4. And we will recite like this. ألم تعلم أن الله. All right. And okay, suppose we stopped here. What's going to happen? This ta will become sakin. This kasra is going to go away. Okay, and it's going to go away. And then there is a natural mud right before here. There's two of them, but this one is going to count. This is the one that will go to 4 harakat. Sama. So this is also natural mud here, but this one is going to remain 2 harakat here. We're not going to change this. We will change this to 4, not this one. Why this one? Because this one is preceding the letter that has gone sakin due to stopping. Mulku samawat. If we stop. If we don't stop, we continue. Mulku samawati wal ard. Keep on going. وما لكم من دون الله من ولي ولا نصير. Okay, so what did I do here? Again, I did مد العارض للسكون ra here because you're stopping. Ra becomes sakin. This kasratain is going to go away and ra will assume a sukun preceded by a natural mad right here. Sad with the kasra followed by ya sakin, 2 harakat. Natural mad right here. This natural mad is preceding a letter that goes sakin due to stopping. So therefore this is going to go from 2 to 4. So how are we going to read this? Wala nasir. And if we were not going to stop, it will be ولا نصير أم تريدون. So then in that case, this lengthening will not be done. But عارض السكون will not happen. Okay, I think we've done enough here. So let us move back to the tajweed notes and let's look at mad al-leen. Mad al-leen. So remember we did the two scenarios, the muds and the leans. What is a leen? Leen is whenever, here is leen letter, whenever waw sakin or ya sakin is preceded by a letter with a fatha. This is the leen situation. Then when we when should we do this mud? Okay, the question is asked here. If one of the lean letters is followed by a letter at the end of a word which has become or been sakin due to stopping or due to stop, the reader should prolong the lean letter. The reader can choose to prolong again 2, 4, 6. So basically, this is the just a mirror image of mud, arid, the sukun, but the difference is that the situation here is being lean rather than mad tabi'i or mad al-asli. The common point between the two is that a letter becomes sakin due to stopping. So if we put a stop here, a stop here, stop here. Okay, this is as you probably guessed from Surah Al-Quraysh. Um, أطعمهم من جوع وآمنهم من خوف. All right, so the actual word contains a kasratain, but why is there you have your kasra and then you have a little meme on top. Why is that meme there? Because that this is the last word of that surah. آمنهم من خوف. That's the last word, as we all know. But then the next surah, Al-Ma'un, will be starting, and the Bismillah of that surah with the Ba will be there. So therefore, this Ba is going to cause, if this is Tanween Kasratain, and the Ba right after will be in Iqlab situation. And in Iqlab situation, the Tanween is represented with the one dash and the meme on top. But this is still tanween, this is still tanween kasratain. That's what it is. Okay. When you stop here, then what happens? Whatever it is here, the last letter will go sakin. From this haraka is not going to remain. So if we take all of this away, okay, the last letter will become sakin. Now you look right before. Okay, this is not a mud. This is a lean situation. Not a mud situation, lean situation. So if you have a lean situation before a letter that goes second due to stopping, again you have the choice of doing 2, 4 or 6, but again we recommend 4 beats here. So how would we do this? If we stop, خوف أطعمهم من جوع وآمنهم من خوف. Okay. Yeah, this one is that ayah. فَلْيَعْبُدُوا رَبَّ هَذَا الْبَيْتِ. Okay, so now what happens if we choose to stop here? Ta becomes sakin. Okay, and this kasra is going to go away. We have chosen to stop here. Here is your lean. Here is your lean situation. Okay, ya sakin preceded by a letter with a fatha. Bay. Bay. So you have a lean situation preceding a letter that goes second due to stopping. So we'll say bay, bait, but we are going to stretch here for harakat. And we call it mad, mad lean. Al bait. فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت. Four harakat. Okay, and then this one. رحلة الشتاء والصيف. What has happened? We chose to stop here, and the letter here goes sakin. Due to stopping, goes sakin. This kasra goes away, and here is your lean right before. صيف والصيف. We do 4 harakat here. And yes, as I explained before, if the reader will not stop, then a mud is not applicable. Okay, and in the first one I was explaining how the iqlab is going to happen if we keep on going with the ba of the Bismillah of the next surah, which happens to be Surah Al-Ma'un. Okay, there we go. That's mad al-leen. Let's go back to our let's go to the Mus'haf and identify some mad al-leens here. Okay, they might not be as frequent. They're not as frequent, but inshallah we will find some. So let us go, and yes, we do find a lean situation here. Okay, so if we chose to stop here, what's gonna happen to ra with the kasratain? It will go sakin. So, and this second raw will be immediately preceded by a lean situation. Kha with a fatha followed by ya sakin. Khoy, khoy. And then ra becomes sakin because we have chosen to stop here. So this becomes mad the lean situation here. So how are we going to read this now? From here. أو ننسها نأتي بخير. If we choose to stop here, then we will stretch it for harakat. Okay, let's look for another situation, another such potential mad al-arid. Oh no, no, sorry. Mad al-leen situation. Mm, First of all, you need to find a leen situation. Mm, okay. There is a leen situation. No, no, there's no leen situation. Sorry. You have to have fatha followed by waw or ya sakin. Okay, again, you have another one, another khair here, but we have already done that. So let's try to find another one. Okay, we got another one here. So suppose I want to stop here. So what's going to happen to this fa? Fa will become sakin, preceded immediately by leen situation. Kha, waw, fatha, khaw. So if I wanted to stop here, it will be فله أجره عند ربه ولا خوف. So if we chose to stop here, then we will have to do the four harakat mad al-leen. Here we go. So this is our second page that we need to read anyways, and we are on it. So let us read this. Um, we did 16, so no, this one we already read. This one we are going to read. وقالت اليهود ليست النصارى. Just let me get a sip of water. My voice is a little bit affected today. Okay, so read along with me. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. وقالت اليهود ليست النصارى على شيء وقالت النصارى ليست اليهود وقالت النصارى ليست اليهود على شيء وهم يتلون الكتاب كذلك قال الذين لا يعلمون مثل قولهم فالله يحكم بينهم يوم القيامة فيما كانوا فيه يختلفون ومن أظلم ممن منع مساجد الله أن يذكر فيها اسمه وسعى في خرابها أولئك ما كان لهم أن يدخلوها إلا خائفين لهم في الدنيا خزي ولهم في الآخرة عذاب عظيم ولله المشرق والمغرب فأينما تولوا فثم وجه الله إن الله واسع عليم وقالوا اتخذ الله ولدا سبحانه بل له ما في السماوات والأرض كل له قانتون بديع السماوات والأرض وإذا قضى أمرا فإنما يقول له كن فيكون وقال الذين لا يعلمون لولا يكلمنا الله أو تأتينا آية كذلك قال الذين من قبلهم مثل قولهم تشابهت قلوبهم قد بينا الآيات لقوم يوقنون إنا أرسلناك بالحق بشيرا ونذيرا ولا تسأل عن أصحاب الجحيم صدق الله العظيم. All right, we still have 5 minutes, so let us go from the top of this page and identify because we are on the chapter of mudud, that is mud and plural. So let us identify, and then if there are special cases, then we will name them as well. So waqalatil, here's, sorry. So here's your first natural mud, two harakat. Waqalatil yahudu. Okay, another natural mud. Laysatin nasara. Natural mud, natural mud. Okay. Ala, natural mud. Shay'in. So here's your Leen situation. Okay. So if we were to actually stop here, it will be ليست النصارى على شيء. Then this will become mad al-Leen. Okay. So here is a potential mad al-Leen situation. وقالت النصارى, two harakat, again two harakat. ليست اليهود, again ليست اليهود. Okay, here is your natural mad يهود على two harakat. شيء وهم. So suppose again, here's your potential mud and lean situation. Suppose I wanted to stop here. ليست اليهود على شيء. Okay, now just just looking at another possible, I mean not possible situation, another situation here. Let's look at here. Suppose I wanted to stop here. Would there be mad lean here? There is a lean situation here. Lay, lam, fatha followed by ya sakin. And this, if I wanted to stop here, this ta will become sakin, and this kasra is going to go away. So you have a letter going sakin due to stopping. Is it preceded by a lean? No, it's preceded by just another letter, which is preceded by a lean. So this situation is not going to justify a mad a lean situation. So therefore, there won't be any mad a lean. If you do stop here, it will be just laysat. That's it. That's all. It'll be laysat, not laysat. That'll be wrong. Okay. Moving on. Ala shay. Ah, here there is a potential situation. So if I stop here, Hamza kasratain will go sakin, will become Hamza sakin. Kasratain is gonna go away. Here is your lean situation, and here potentially I can go. Sorry, not two, but I can go to four here. ليست اليهود على شيء وهم يتلون الكتاب. Normal two harakat mad. Kitab, two harakat mad. Ah, but we are stopping here. So what's gonna happen? We are going to. So what's gonna happen to this ba? Ba will become sakin because we are stopping, and there is a natural mad right before it. And this natural mad, we are going to stretch it to four harakat, and we will call this mad that happens here مد العارض للسكون. مد العارض للسكون. There we go. Alright, continuing. كذلك. So here is your natural mad. كذلك قال two harakat. الذين two harakat. And لا two harakat. يعلمون two harakat. مثل قولهم فالله. فالله, there's a natural mud inside here. Okay, فالله يحكم بينهم يوم Okay, now if suppose I wanted to stop here, I would apply mud lean. فالله يحكم بينهم يوم. But normally we wouldn't stop here. So continue. يوم القيامة. قيا. Here is your natural math. Mati fi two, ma two, ka two, nu two, fi two. He one haraka يختلفون مد العارض للسكون. We're going to stop here. So there you go. Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has brought us to the end of this session as well, where we have covered the mudud, some of them, but we still have some left. If I go back to this tajweed notes, we will see that you have mad wajib muttasil and mad jaiz munfasil left. Mad lazim, this is a little bit involved, so we will, I guess, have no choice but do this in the next lecture next Friday bi-idhnillah. So we stop here for today. We make the dua. Subhanallah wa bihamdih. Subhanak Allahumma wa bihamdik. Wa nashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Nastaghfiruk wa natubu ilayk.